put it past them. Crooked little rats, so easily and spineless, always looking for a snack, searching for the next reputation to tear apart and trash.
That's about the best description of our current media that I've ever heard.
Holding in the way, that's what I heard them say. They used to heed the words he said, but that was yesterday. Gold will turn to gray and youth will fade away. They'll never care about you, call you holding in the way.
Good morning and welcome to a special edition of Old Men in Chairs. I don't normally do videos every day, and I did the tribute to Smash Mouth yesterday, Labor Day. And then last night about 9 o'clock, Sampson dropped a new song. Well, if you know Sampson, first of all, it's going to be fire. And I've watched it, and it's great. But he rarely drops. I have not reacted to one of his songs in a year. I wish he would do a lot more. He's super talented. I actually wanted to do this last night, but I just didn't have the energy. It was a long day, and I'm much fresher in the morning. So here we go. On the screen, we're growing the economy from the middle out and bottom up, lowering costs for hardworking families and making smart investments in America. That's Bidenomics, Joe Biden. What a load of crap. Does he believe this stuff? Does he even know what he's saying, or he just reads what somebody writes for him? Probably the latter. Nobody could believe that they're lowering costs for hardworking families. You'd have to live on another planet somewhere to believe that. Let's see what Mr. Sampson has to say about that.
I made a little money off of rap, but not enough to make me rich, yet I'm still backpacking. I made a little money off of rap, but not enough to make me rich, I'm in the same tax bracket. I made a little money off of rap, but not enough to make me rich, I mean it too. I just say that to say that I'm still down here in the real world, feeling everything with you, and I'm fucking pissed!
Oh, what a surprise. He's pissed. He's full of piss and vinegar. Always.
Say that I'm still down here in the real world, feeling everything with you, and I'm fucking pissed. I got a big bone to pick with all these motherfucking activists, all these rappers and actors and notable figures that act like they know how bad this shit is. I love being lectured and ridiculed about the fact that I don't have an electric vehicle, tweeting about climate change from your private plane while I pay an arm and leg to get some fuel. Thank God my car doesn't take premium. I'd have to get a second job just to break even, and they cranked it up $3 and brought it down too, and I'm supposed to be happy and act like I'm proud of you. And to add to injury, I got Kamala telling me I need to go electric and I have to act quick, and all it's gonna cost me is $50,000. Well, guess what? I don't have that, bitch.
Few people have $50,000 laying around to buy an electric vehicle, and unless you live in a city and just use it to commute a few miles to work, it doesn't really make much sense anyway. You can't travel cross country because there aren't enough charging stations out there to make it across the country. A number of people have found that out. Ford has come out with an electric truck, but even the president of Ford said, well, maybe it's not quite ready for prime time yet, after he tried to use it. We know the reason they're promoting electric cars. It's not about the climate like they claim. It's about control, because they can turn off your electric car if they don't like, where you're going or what you're doing. And America is about freedom, and the American automobile has always been about freedom, the freedom of the open road. And they hate freedom, so they hate cars, and they want to get rid of them and replace them with electric gadgets they can control.
And all it's gonna cost me is $50,000. Well, guess what? I don't have that, bitch. And even if I did, I would buy a big truck just to rub it in your face, because I don't give a fuck. I would put a big smokestack on the top of it and blow black smoke every time I open throttle it. And it's not because I hate the climate, it's because I don't trust you or the things you wish me to do. I would cut the floor out of the bottom of my car and start running like the Flintstones before I listen to you.
Now that's a bar. You wouldn't think really that he'd be old enough to remember the Flintstones. I mean, that's my era. The Flintstones was on the air as a cartoon in the 60s. And he's obviously in his 20s. But I guess they have reruns. I guess every generation watches the Flintstones.
I would cut the floor out of the bottom of my car and start running like the Flintstones before I listen to you. I hate when people tell me they would rather not talk about it because they don't like to get political. I cannot afford supply shortages and high mortgages. It's not politics, all this shit is literal. That's money draining out of your bank account to make it work, to the point that it breaks you down, it makes you hurt. Paying insane amounts, taken out of your savings and promised that they were gonna save you. How? They made it worse. We should be a flourishing nation, not a country with soaring inflation.
They've made it worse. That opening statement about investing in America. No, they're not investing in America. They're taking all the money, sending it to Ukraine. You know why? Because it's easy to launder it and pay off people all over the world with all that money that there's no accountability for, billions and billions of dollars. Do you notice how all the politicians' sons end up with big jobs in Ukraine? I wonder how that happened.
They made it worse. We should be a flourishing nation, not a country with soaring inflation. There's nothing more infuriating than the fact that nobody takes blame for this poor demonstration. Like, what? It just happened like that? Nothing to do with your administration. You blamed it on Putin and called it his price hike. The shit was going up way before the invasion. Now how does that work? Really, I'm baffled. Sick of being treated like a stupid blind asshole. Next thing I know, I'm gonna turn on CNN and they'll be trying to tell everybody that Putin time traveled. Wouldn't put it past them. Crooked little rats, so easily and spineless, always looking for a snack, searching for the next reputation to tear apart and trash.
That's about the best description of our current media that I've ever heard. Little rats, always looking for a snack to tear apart somebody's reputation. Preach it, Sampson.
So easily and spineless, always looking for a snack, searching for the next reputation to tear apart and trash. When the views that you have and theirs aren't exact, they feed you bullshit and expect you to eat it, and they read you bullshit and expect you to believe it. Like everything that you witness isn't for certain or real, and you're just supposed to forget all your personal experiences.
I think that's called gaslighting. They feed you bullshit and expect you to believe it and eat it. No thank you. I've turned that thing off for years now. I don't watch it. There's many more accurate sources of information that can be found, thankfully still online, than watching the professional liars and actors.
Like everything that you witness isn't for certain or real, and you're just supposed to forget all your personal experiences. Like all the money that you spent, you still have the shit. You didn't really spend any of it, you just imagined it. All the cash that you wasted on behalf of this inflation didn't happen. It's just a figment of your imagination, and it's all gone.
Wow, he tells it like it is, doesn't he? And with such passion and anger, which is justified. Someone called him the Oliver Anthony of rap, and I agree with that 100%. He's taking that same emotion that Oliver has, but he's explaining exactly how he got here. The rich man north of Richmond, he's onto their shit, and he's onto the media, the little rats. And I hope we see more of him. You know, don't wait another year, Sampson. You know, he says it's going to be continued. Let's have it within a month if we can. We missed you. Great job.